Bernard Mandeville, a Dutch-English philosopher, satirist, and social critic, is best known for his provocative and controversial work The Fable of the Bees, or Private Vices, Public Benefits. In this work, Mandeville presents an audacious argument: individual selfishness, often deemed immoral, can result in collective benefits for society. His belief in the paradoxical nature of human behavior and his critique of conventional morality left a lasting imprint on various fields, including economics, philosophy, and sociology. Although his views were seen as radical and even dangerous by some, Mandeville's exploration of self-interest, vice, and public prosperity continues to challenge our understanding of society, economics, and human nature. This video delves into Mandeville's life and intellectual background, critically examines his major philosophical contributions, and reflects on the lessons that can be derived from his work. By understanding Mandeville's theories and their implications, we can gain new insights into the complexities of modern life, from the role of self-interest in progress to the acceptance of imperfection in human behavior. 1. Bernard Mandeville, a brief biography. Bernard Mandeville was born in 1670 in Rotterdam, Netherlands, to a family of French Huguenot origin. His upbringing was marked by a sense of intellectual curiosity and religious tolerance that was characteristic of many Huguenot families who had fled France to escape persecution. His father, a well-established merchant, had a significant influence on his early education. Mandeville was exposed to a wide array of ideas and intellectual movements, which played a crucial role in shaping his later works. He enrolled at the University of Leiden in 1687 to study medicine, where he earned his doctorate in 1691. However, Mandeville's true passion was philosophy, and although he held a medical degree, he never pursued a career in medicine. Instead, he turned to writing and philosophical reflection, eventually making England his home in 1691. His time in England, a place rich with intellectual debates and emerging ideas about economics, politics, and human nature, significantly shaped his views. Mandeville's personal life is somewhat enigmatic. He never married and lived a relatively solitary life, spending much of his time writing. His works, which critique societal norms and moral assumptions, made him a controversial figure. His most famous work, The Fable of the Bees, first published in 1705 and later revised in 1714, cemented his place in intellectual history. The work was met with considerable backlash from both religious and political figures, as Mandeville questioned long-held moral standards. Nonetheless, his influence endured, particularly in the fields of economics and social theory, and his ideas continue to provoke debate today. 2. Mandeville's major works and philosophical contributions. Mandeville's intellectual contributions were far-reaching and complex, with his most famous work being The Fable of the Bees, or Private Vices, Public Benefits. In this text, Mandeville used the metaphor of a beehive to explore the interplay between individual vice and collective prosperity. The bees in the fable are driven by selfish desires, indulging in vices like greed, vanity, and luxury. However, these vices paradoxically lead to the flourishing of the hive, symbolizing the way that human self-interest, often seen as morally reprehensible, can contribute to the greater good of society. The fundamental argument in The Fable of the Bees is that private vices, such as greed, envy, and pride, can result in public benefits. This assertion challenges conventional moral philosophy, which traditionally associates vice with harm and virtue with societal good. Mandeville posits that individuals, motivated by selfish desires, end up contributing to the collective well-being of society in ways that are often unintended. At the heart of Mandeville's argument is a critique of idealistic views of human nature. He argued that humans, far from being virtuous or naturally inclined toward the common good, are inherently driven by selfish impulses. He criticized moralists and religious thinkers who believed that human beings could achieve perfection through disciplined self-control and adherence to virtuous principles. For Mandeville, such idealism was unrealistic, and his work sought to provide a more practical, albeit cynical, view of human nature. Additionally, Mandeville's ideas anticipated several key concepts in modern economic thought, especially the notion of the invisible hand, later popularized by Adam Smith. Mandeville argued that when individuals act in their own self-interest, they often unintentionally contribute to the social and economic welfare of the community. Although Mandeville did not use the term invisible hand, his work laid the groundwork for later economic theories of self-regulation and the benefits of market competition. Mandeville's ideas on human nature were not confined to his critique of morality. He was also deeply concerned with the role of public opinion and social norms in shaping individual behavior. He argued that much of human conduct is motivated by the desire for social approval and the fear of dishonor. Public opinion, therefore, plays a critical role in maintaining social order and encouraging individuals to conform to the expectations of society. 3. The philosophical and economic contributions of Bernard Mandeville. The relationship between vice and virtue. One of the most striking features of Mandeville's thought is his argument that vice and virtue are not opposites, but rather complementary forces. In the Fable of the Bees, Mandeville suggests that what we traditionally consider immoral behavior, such as greed and vanity, can play a significant role in the functioning of society. He contends that these vices drive people to work harder, create wealth, and innovate, which ultimately benefits society as a whole. Mandeville's view was a departure from the prevailing moral philosophy of the time, which typically viewed vices as harmful and virtues as essential to social harmony. In contrast, Mandeville acknowledged the darker side of human nature, arguing that selfish desires and the pursuit of personal gain could lead to the development of commerce, industry, and cultural progress. He was, in effect, proposing a more complex and pragmatic view of morality, one that recognizes the inevitable role of both vice and virtue in human life. The idea of the invisible hand and economic self-regulation. Although the phrase invisible hand is more famously associated with Adam Smith, Mandeville's Fable contained an early version of this concept. Mandeville argued that individuals acting out of self-interest often contribute to the public good in ways that are not directly intended. For example, a businessman who seeks to maximize his profits may inadvertently create jobs, provide valuable goods and services, and contribute to the overall prosperity of society. This unintended consequence of self-interested behavior was central to Mandeville's thinking and anticipated later ideas in classical economics. Mandeville's work suggests that the pursuit of personal gain can lead to positive outcomes for society, even if those outcomes are not the result of conscious altruism. This idea laid the foundation for modern economic theories that emphasized the benefits of competition, market forces, and individual freedom. In a sense, Mandeville was one of the earliest proponents of laissez-faire economics, arguing that minimal government intervention is necessary for the efficient functioning of society. Critique of idealistic moralism and human imperfection. Mandeville was also a critic of the idealistic moralism that dominated intellectual thought in his time. Philosophers, theologians, and social reformers often argued that human beings could attain virtue through discipline, education, and self-control. Mandeville, however, believed this view was overly optimistic and failed to account for the complexity of human nature. Rather than attempting to eliminate vice and achieve moral perfection, Mandeville proposed that society should embrace the full range of human emotions, desires, and behaviors. He argued that human beings are inherently driven by self-interest and that attempts to suppress these natural inclinations only lead to frustration and social disorder. Instead of striving for unattainable ideals, Mandeville encouraged a more pragmatic approach to social organization, one that recognized and channeled human imperfection in ways that could benefit society. The role of public opinion in shaping behavior. Mandeville also emphasized the role of public opinion in shaping human behavior. He argued that much of what people do is influenced not just by their internal desires, but also by the external pressure to conform to societal norms. Public opinion, according to Mandeville, serves as a powerful force in maintaining social cohesion and encouraging individuals to act in ways that align with the collective interests of society. This recognition of the importance of social judgment and public approval is highly relevant to contemporary discussions about social media, consumer culture, and the influence of public opinion on individual behavior. Mandeville's insights into the role of social norms in shaping behavior can help us better understand the dynamics of modern society, where individuals are often motivated by the desire for recognition, status, and approval. 4. Life lessons derived from Mandeville's philosophy. Embrace self-interest as a positive force. One of the most important lessons from Mandeville's work is the recognition that self-interest is not inherently bad. While traditional moral philosophy often casts self-interest as a vice, Mandeville sees it as a powerful motivator that can lead to progress and societal benefits. His work encourages individuals to pursue their own goals and ambitions, understanding that, in doing so, they may contribute to the common good. In modern society, this lesson encourages individuals to focus on personal growth and success without feeling guilty for prioritizing their own needs. Mandeville's view offers a more realistic understanding of human behavior, one that acknowledges that self-interest can coexist with social responsibility and contribute to collective prosperity. Recognize the positive aspects of human imperfection. Another key lesson from Mandeville's work is the acceptance of human imperfection. Mandeville was skeptical of the idea that people could be completely virtuous, and he emphasized that vice and virtue are often intertwined. Rather than striving for unattainable perfection, Mandeville suggested that we should accept our flaws and use them to our advantage. This lesson is particularly relevant in a world that often values perfection and success. Mandeville's philosophy encourages individuals to embrace their imperfections, understanding that they are part of what makes us human. By accepting and working with our flaws, we can find ways to improve ourselves and society without the unrealistic burden of moral perfection. Question societal norms and expectations. Mandeville's critique of public opinion and social norms encourages individuals to question the expectations placed on them by society. While it is important to consider the impact of our actions on others, Mandeville reminds us that societal norms are not always aligned with our best interests. His work encourages individuals to think critically about the norms they adhere to and whether those norms are truly beneficial or merely conventional. In a world where social media, consumer culture, and social expectations can exert immense pressure, Mandeville's philosophy offers a valuable perspective. It encourages us to consider whether societal norms are truly in line with our personal values and whether conforming to them will lead to genuine fulfillment. Accept the paradoxes of life. Finally, Mandeville's work teaches us to accept the paradoxes and contradictions inherent in life. His philosophy suggests that progress often arises from the interplay between opposing forces, such as vice and virtue, self-interest and altruism, and individual desires and public benefits. Life is rarely straightforward, and Mandeville's work encourages us to embrace the complexity and ambiguity of human experience. This lesson can help us navigate the challenges and uncertainties of modern life. Rather than seeking simple answers or rigid moral guidelines, Mandeville's philosophy encourages us to appreciate the complexity of life and find ways to move forward despite, or because of, the paradoxes we face. 5. The critique of religious and moral ideals. Bernard Mandeville's ideas about morality and self-interest were deeply critical of the religious and moral ideals of his time. Mandeville often clashed with the prevailing moral and theological views of his era, which were heavily influenced by Christian doctrines that emphasized the importance of virtues like humility, charity, and self-sacrifice. In contrast to these moral ideals, Mandeville argued that virtues were not necessarily conducive to societal well-being. Instead, he believed that human beings were inherently self-interested and that society would be better off if individuals were allowed to act in their own interests without the constraint of moralistic ideals. In the Fable of the Bees, Mandeville mocked the traditional Christian emphasis on self-denial and piety. He suggested that these moral ideals were unrealistic and ignored the fundamental nature of human behavior. Instead of suppressing natural desires, Mandeville argued that society should accept these desires and direct them in ways that could foster prosperity. This perspective was groundbreaking at the time because it questioned the foundations of moral and religious teachings and placed self-interest at the center of human life. Lesson for modern life. Mandeville's critique invites us to reconsider traditional moral frameworks that prioritize self-sacrifice over self-interest. In a modern context, we may reflect on the balance between personal fulfillment and societal expectations. While charity and virtue still hold importance, understanding that self-interest can be a powerful driver of progress challenges us to rethink how we approach societal good. 6. Mandeville's legacy and influence on modern economics. Mandeville's impact on the development of economic thought cannot be overstated. While he was not an economist in the modern sense, his ideas laid the groundwork for the economic theories of later thinkers, particularly Adam Smith. Mandeville's argument that individual self-interest could lead to collective benefits foreshadowed Smith's theory of the invisible hand, the idea that individuals pursuing their own interests in competitive markets can unintentionally contribute to the public good. Mandeville's perspective on economic prosperity was rooted in his understanding of human psychology. He recognized that individuals are motivated by a complex set of desires, including the desire for wealth, status, and recognition. By channeling these desires into productive activities such as trade, innovation, and labor, Mandeville believed that society could thrive. His work laid the foundation for later economic thought that emphasized the importance of markets, competition, and the limited role of government intervention. Lesson for modern life. Mandeville's economic ideas remind us that personal ambition and success can contribute to collective prosperity. In the modern capitalist world, this lesson is reflected in the way that businesses, driven by profit motives, can provide goods, services, and employment, ultimately benefiting society as a whole. The challenge for contemporary society is to ensure that the pursuit of self-interest is balanced with ethical considerations and social responsibility. 7. The paradox of social progress. A central theme in Mandeville's thought is the paradox that social progress often arises from morally questionable actions. This paradox is evident in the way that vices like greed, vanity, and luxury contribute to the advancement of civilization. Mandeville's beehive metaphor illustrates this paradox, showing how the bee's selfish actions lead to the flourishing of the hive, even though their individual desires are rooted in vice. This idea challenges traditional notions of progress, which typically emphasize virtuous behavior as the foundation of societal improvement. Mandeville's work implies that progress is not always the result of noble intentions but can instead emerge from the interplay of various motivations, including those driven by self-interest. The complex nature of social progress, according to Mandeville, is driven by the tension between vice and virtue, which is often more productive than a one-sided focus on morality. Lesson for modern life: the paradox of social progress teaches us that personal desires and collective good are not always in opposition. In modern society, we often see this paradox at work in industries like technology, where the desire for profit has led to innovations that, while driven by self-interest, ultimately improve the quality of life for millions. This insight invites us to be open to unconventional sources of progress and to recognize that human imperfection can still lead to positive outcomes. 8. The modern relevance of Mandeville's critique of human nature. Mandeville's critique of human nature is as relevant today as it was in the 18th century. In an era where individualism and materialism often dominate public life, Mandeville's exploration of self-interest offers important insights into the motivations behind modern behaviors. His recognition that humans are driven by desires for wealth, status, and recognition aligns with contemporary understandings of human psychology and social dynamics. In today's world, Mandeville's ideas resonate particularly in the context of capitalism, consumer culture, and social media. People are constantly motivated by the desire to attain wealth, status, and admiration from their peers. Mandeville's recognition of these motivations, and his acknowledgement that they can drive progress, is reflected in the way modern economies operate. From the rise of consumer culture to the rapid advancement of technology, Mandeville's ideas about the role of vice in societal development continue to shape our understanding of the modern world. Lesson for modern life: Mandeville's work encourages us to confront the complexities of human nature without resorting to simplistic moral judgments. By accepting that people are often motivated by self-interest, we can develop a more realistic understanding of how societies function and how individuals contribute to collective progress. Rather than idealizing human behavior, Mandeville's philosophy invites us to embrace the full spectrum of motivations that drive human actions. 9. Criticism and controversy: reactions to Mandeville's philosophy. Mandeville's work, particularly the Fable of the Bees, was not without its critics. His assertion that vice could contribute to the public good challenged the prevailing moral and religious orthodoxy, making him a controversial figure in his time. His critics argued that Mandeville's ideas promoted immorality and undermined the moral fabric of society. Religious figures, in particular, condemned his work for what they saw as its dangerous encouragement of selfish behavior. Despite the controversy, Mandeville's ideas also found supporters who saw his work as a bold challenge to outdated moral standards. Philosophers and economists who embraced his views saw him as a precursor to modern thought, particularly in the realms of economics and social theory. Over time, Mandeville's ideas became more widely accepted, particularly as economic theories of self-interest, competition, and market forces began to gain prominence in the 18th and 19th centuries. Lesson for modern life: the criticism of Mandeville's ideas highlights the tension between conventional morality and the evolving understanding of human behavior. In the modern era, we are often faced with debates about the morality of capitalism, consumerism, and self-interest. Mandeville's work encourages us to critically examine these debates and to recognize that moral progress is not always linear. Social change often arises from challenging established norms, and progress sometimes requires embracing ideas that challenge conventional wisdom. 10. Conclusion: the enduring relevance of Mandeville's philosophy. Bernard Mandeville's contributions to philosophy, economics, and social theory continue to provoke thought and debate. His groundbreaking exploration of the relationship between vice and virtue, self-interest and public benefit, has left a lasting legacy in the intellectual landscape. While his ideas were controversial in his time, Mandeville's work foreshadowed many of the key concepts in modern economic theory and continues to offer valuable insights into human nature and society. Mandeville's philosophy challenges us to rethink traditional moral frameworks and to accept the complexities of human behavior. His recognition that social progress can emerge from the most unexpected sources encourages us to embrace the paradoxes of life and to understand that personal ambitions and societal benefits are not mutually exclusive. In a world where self-interest and material success often dominate, Mandeville's work provides a reminder that human imperfection and the pursuit of personal desires can, in fact, contribute to the greater good. As we navigate the challenges of the modern world, Mandeville's insights into the nature of human behavior, economic prosperity, and societal progress offer timeless lessons that can guide us toward a more pragmatic and inclusive understanding of the forces that shape our lives.